Hello, welcome back to Chinese Contenders Season 3. This is week 1, day 2. That's the third time I've said that, but we're not even on day 3 yet. Now, we will be having Lucky Future versus Flag Gaming to begin. Well, not to begin, to end in this situation. We're not, hopefully not another 4-0. We don't want any more of those. We want a scrappy fight, and that's what we're going to hopefully get here. We've been taking bets on 4-0s. We don't want to be taking bets. We want to take bets on 3-2. We want to see. We want to slick 3-2 here. It's not. We don't want it to be clean. We want this fight to be underground. Okay. All right. Now, both these teams, they've had a few different things happen to them over the course of season 2, and it's been tough for them. But I think Flag Gaming is definitely a standout team here. Right. They've had new additions, Jason, Over. Now they've had an off season. They have time to mesh these players back into the roster. Now, Val's, what we do have concerns about is the tank play.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these teams, I'm very interested to see how their tank line looks. For the side of Flag Gaming, we have Over, who came in right at the very end of last contender season and immediately made a huge impact for Flag Gaming. It was like night and day taking them over their previous off-tank Melons. So definitely seeing how well Over's going to look after having the off-season to integrate and scrim with the team as opposed to just being dropped in after a week. Definitely looking for a strong performance from him today. However, his off tank, it's MG. We all know who MG is. Maybe had a less than stellar performance during the Overwatch League, so trying to prove himself again. Want to see how this tank line's able to interact after scrimming together for a little bit. On the flip side, you have So What and Sleepy Bear taking up the tank line for Lucky Future. So What was one of my very interesting to play watch last season. I thought had some good moments, some bad moments, some straight up ugly moments. But maybe has the excuse that he was playing on a mostly Chinese team, some communication issues there, particularly with his old off-tank Tian. So now he's paired in this full Korean roster for Lucky Future, paired with Sleepy Bear on off-tank. Maybe can start redeeming himself a bit. Maybe has a lot of potential as a player. I'm excited to see how both these tank lines operate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one here. Now, this is looking quite far to the future, but Albion, I know you've got some stuff to talk about Sleepy Bear and perhaps the way this team might operate as we come into mid-season, where potentially we get the new patch dropping with the new hog changes.
Yeah, so Sleepy Bear, for anyone who doesn't know, was a legacy kind of Roadhog player back from when he played in Apex on Conbox. Zunba, of course, was the original off tank, and once he went to Lunatic High, Sleepy Bear was brought up, and that was one of the picks that he really did shine on. There was the Roadhog, and maybe when the Roadhog changes come in kind of later on in the season, we can kind of see what Sleepy Bear can do. But for now, we really do have to be concerned with what we've seen from Lucky Future in Land Story. And Land Story, for anyone who doesn't know, is kind of a little tournament that's going on right now in China, and Lucky Future was taking part in it. And in that tournament, their tank play was, I believe the word you told me to use, Blank, was questionable.
Yep,
it was certainly questionable. So What really needs to unbind his shift key on Reinhardt. He pins in way too aggressively, and Sleepy Bear looks a little bit lost. So if this series does go to kind of a tank matchup, I'm really concerned for Lucky Future. I think they lose that one. And I think we have to look at Flag Gaming as kind of the favorites in this series specifically, because like we mentioned earlier, they had some additions. Over came in, and he really worked well immediately with the team, and now they've had a couple months to scrim, kind of gel together, and I think they might be a little bit of a dark horse for this season. They took that third, fourth place slot in their first season as a team together. And you kind of have to wonder, what is it going to look like now? And this is the season to do it. Like we mentioned, at the very start of the broadcast, with Lucky Future Zenith out, there is that kind of power vacuum right now. So if Flag Gaming is going to step up to the plate, this is the season to do it.
Yeah, this is all of these teams clawing for that top spot. I mean, one big thing for Lucky Future was Yag was actually a big part of their success. He did get pulled up to Lucky Future Zenith in the playoffs. But this is another situation with Lingan Esports. They have they lost on Dead Right, but last game they really showed up. They showed him a big way. Potentially we see the same here, or do we see Sleepy Bear lost in the woods like you're talking about? This is the questions we have for these teams. Now, if you had to choose one of these teams, Vals, who would you go for and why?
I think I've got to go with Flag Gaming. Lucky Future, we've got a lot of question marks based on their Land Story performance. Again, So What and Sleepy Bear maybe not playing up to quite the level we'd expect of them and what they'd personally expect of themselves. A little bit of question marks as some of the newer players around Lucky Future, how well they've been integrate. It's a lot of the first time in contenders at this level for a lot of these players. Flag Gaming, on the other hand, yeah, they came third, fourth last Contender season. Sure, definitely not one of the premier teams, but that was after spending most of the season with Melons as the main tank. I've already highlighted how huge an improvement Over was when he came in on main tank. And now they've trimmed the fat, cut off some of their excess DPS players. They're committing to this Evil X lineup DPS duo as well. The sky's the limit for Flag Gaming. They definitely are a dark horse to, if maybe we're not going to say they're at the level of T1W, Team CC right now, they're one of the favorites to reach that level and catch everyone off guard. I've got to take Flag Gaming in this matchup.
Ooh, okay. So we're taking our bets here now. Albion, Val says this team on Flag Gaming, they're trimming the fat. You're saying that Lucky Future, they might be adding the fat back in with the hog. Now, who do you choose here?
I mentioned it earlier, and I have to agree with Val's here. I think this is going to be a Flag Gaming. I think it's going to be maybe not as dominant as some of the earlier series today, but I still think it's going to be pretty dominant. And the big reason is because Lucky Future is one of the only teams right now in China that actually goes out of their way to play Reinhardt based 3-3 tank compositions. And like we mentioned, so it's not so good there, but even going further, Blackbean has looked really questionable when he has played that Zarya. And like Val's mentioned, the DPS line for Flag Gaming, now they've really committed. They've got rid of a bunch of DPS players and they've committed to Jason and Evil X. I think it's really no contest.
Yeah, so it's unanimous. It's unanimous. The desk calls Flag. Will they be raising the flag on their side? That's what we're hoping. The flag of victory or a white flag. We'll have to see as we come in now. Lucky Future. We talked about their tank play. We talked about their DPS. I think the main thing that we can go into is the previous teams. And we are actually doing have a map. We got Ilios. This is the first time we're seeing Ilios, so we get to actually see the Greek Isles. Potentially see some more boots on well if we do see it. But we'll be throwing this one over to the casters now. It will be Kenobi and Rapture taking you through the game. Take it away, boys.
Welcome back, everybody, to our third and final match of the day. Thanks, Blank. I am Rapture here with Kenobi for Chinese Contenders Season 3 2018 English coverage brought to you by Broadcast.gg. Our first map is indeed Ilios. And Kenobi, I mean, this should be a doozy. This might be the closest set that we've seen all day today. You ready to get into this map?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready, and I'm with the desk. I don't want a 4-0. I want some good Overwatch action here, and we're changing it up a little bit, going to Ilios and going to Runes. We've been seeing Lijiang for the first two maps of this series, so Ilios, a nice change of pace, some interesting different compositions we'll be seeing. We're going to Ruins as the first map, so look out for those Widows, because Widow on this map, as we know, Rapture, one of those power picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, in Ruins, you have these super long sight lines that Widowmaker can take advantage of. Coming out of the gate, though, interestingly enough, Flag Gaming, the only team running that Widowmaker. Lucky Future, instead going for the Sombra as their more unique DPS pick. Evil X has a Sombra of their own, so we'll see. Can the Sombras kind of keep each other occupied while Jason goes off in this Widowmaker? That's certainly what Flag Gaming is going to be going for.
Yeah, and there's not a lot to contest Jason on this Widowmaker, so he will have an easier time getting these headshots and getting these picks as they need, but looks like they try to get the pick onto Soa at the start. He is going to be able to live, but the damage is being done.
Absolutely. Oh, Punky Jaeger gets one onto the Winston, so they'll at least keep Flag Gaming from getting too overly aggressive without that tank, and they're going to lose everyone else otherwise. Lucky Future getting pretty convincing first fight win here. They will be able to get the first point capture.
Yeah, and that was really good job from Lucky Future to make sure Sowat stayed alive. He was getting hacked and he was getting shot by that Sombra, but they were able to use that defense matrix from Sleepy Bear to keep him alive and keep him able to sustain through that fight. And then it was Punky Jaeger there doing a good job on that Zenyatta, playing sort of a fragging Zenyatta, something that we love to see, and he was able to get a couple of kills, and Lucky Future was able to turn that fight in their favor.
Yeah, so already 20% now for Lucky Future. And not only that, but they're about to get the EMP for Blackbean. Punky Jaeger gets rid of Jason early, and now Sowat gonna push up along with the Bree to cut off the rest of Flag Gaming from the rest of the point. Over gets one on Blackbean. Over now trying to rejoin the fray here as Punky Jaeger now trying to rejoin the rest of their team and get some much needed supports. As Lucky Future's playing aggressive, trying to get these kills, and they are finding them. Lucky Future now at 40% over Flag Gaming, and not only that, Flag Gaming has very little to show for it.
A little bit of miscommunication, it looks like, with the dive there. Jason just caught all by himself, and Lucky Future did a good job of collapsing onto him and punishing for being out of position. And after that, they were able to roll through the point without using any ultimates as well. And at 50% Rapture, if they win one or two more fights for Lucky Future, that's the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blackbean's going to certainly wait to use that EMP until the right moment when Flag Gaming is all clumped up. But they have to worry about Evil X on their own EMP. And Over now getting pretty low here, is about to get Primal Rage, wants to get it before they go down. Jason finds Sleepy Bear in the meantime. So what? Getting rid of Coldest, and now gonna pop that Primal Rage to try and get that annoying Lucio away from him. Gonna rejoin the Sombra as they chase down Over. Over does go down. And Lucky Future with the entire team kill. And not only that, still hanging on to the Transcendence, and they're about to have Sound Barrier as well.
Yeah, Flag Gaming can come back and try and recontest this. Coldest is very close to that Transcendence, and they do have the Brigitte Rally, and they have Over's Primal Rage here, so they can definitely get back onto this point and try and sustain for the last fight here. But this is last fight. If Lucky Future is able to win, they will take this point.
Oh, So What gets hacked before they can jump right in, so they're going to fall back and leave their Diva there. He's going to throw that self-destruct into the air in the meantime and finds MG. Great play by Sleepy Bear. But it's a 5v5 situation as Coldest gets tampered down onto the ground. Over popping Primal Rage, keeping the Zenyatta in the corner, making it hard for them to heal, but they get out nonetheless. Blackbeam finding Nika. Over popping Primal Rage, trying to disrupt where everyone's literally ignoring him, running away. Transcendence now used by the Zenyatta. Lucky Future, Punky Jaeger trying to put some pressure down, gets rid of Over. Huge advantage for Lucky Future. Punky Jaeger super low. It'll be a 100-0 victory here for Lucky Future as they don't even let Flag Gaming get a single morsel of the point in their favor.
And they talked about it on the desk a little bit, the tank play coming out from both of these tanks. And there it looked like So What was playing a little bit more aggressive, but the rest of the team was around him and trying to keep him alive. You know, main tank's such an important part of the current meta, and if you're losing that main tank early in the fight with that hyper aggressive style of play that Lucky Future seems to want to play, then it's very detrimental. So I like that Lucky Future is kind of keeping So What in check by themselves and making sure that he isn't just diving in alone. He has that Diva with him. He has the support from his support line as well. So I really like that. And also, you know, Tamper on this Brigitte, giving that nice burst healing as well.
Yeah, and now Flag Gaming adding a second tank. They were only running one just over on that tank. So now going for a second one here, I think that's the smart thing to do at the end of the day here. They definitely need some more tankiness to try. I mean, they got to give their DPS room to work with here. Jason cutting off the Lucio, then Blackbean also getting put down for the count. 6v4 advantage here for Flag Gaming, and this is really the biggest advantage they've had the entire map so far. Certainly they're going to want to push that, but they do get it before that point is captured, so they aren't able to actually get any percentage just yet.
And two very early kills coming out from Jason there, and it looked like possibly Lucky Future caught off guard by the amount of damage that this new Pharah can do. They're going to switch over to the Widow just to pressure a little bit, but Blackbean's going to go back over to the McCree and try and keep that pressure on Jason, because Jason there really showing his stuff on that Pharah.
Yeah, you know, McCree with the lower mobility can take advantage of, you know, the good amount of cover this phase of the map has. So it kind of makes up for the fact that McCree doesn't have great mobility, but still has to be careful, has to stick with the Lucio to stay alive here. And almost getting left behind there, getting cut off, but thankfully rejoining the team just as they get onto the point. Over, meanwhile, below 100 HP, trying to get to some cover, find some heals before they rejoin the fight. Now MG harassing outside the point, waiting for the rest of the team to join up and trying to poke and get some ult charge. That self-destruct would be great to dislodge Lucky Future off the point. Jason now smooths it in, has the barrage ready when Lucky Future starts to get antsy. Jason now looking for some more shots, has some supports lined up but can't clean up. And now 20% just about here for Lucky Future. They're almost going to lose the point though. Flag Gaming in control with Jason and Evil X on top of the tanks on the point. Now that self-destruct from MG, going to get rid of that Winston, forcing the Winston to go into cover. And that's enough for MG to get. So what actually still getting the kill, or still getting killed there by MG's mech. I think calling it down actually killed the Winston. And now Lucky Future giving up control of the point to Flag Gaming.
They're gonna give up control, and you know, something that Flag Gaming did there is they had a lot of ultimates in that last fight. You're about to have 5 for this next fight, whereas Lucky Future, you really only have your support ults coming up for you, and so it's Primal Rage. So this fight for Flag Gaming should be in their favor with these ultimates, especially with this Coldest Transcendence.
Yeah. And Evil X with the EMP hanging out, I think partially getting detected there, and sets up Jason for an easy 3K barrage. And that's 1-2 combination from Black Gaming. It's exactly what they need to keep steamrolling over Lucky Future and not let them fight a prolonged fight to get more ult charge.
Yeah, if you're Jason there, that's a hard. We take those right there. 3 for 1. Yep. I sacrificed my life for 3 kills with that barrage and EMP combo. Definitely take that. And now, you know, Lucky Future gonna come back to this point, and they're now gonna have the ultimate advantage coming into this next fight with a lot of ultimates to their name. Look out for Coldest this here. Transcendence again. It's gonna be what they need to sustain onto this point.
Yeah, Lucky Future about to get 6 ultimates under their belt here, and they're gonna push right up onto the point. Transcendence there, popped by Punky Jaeger to try and keep away Over, who's using Primal Rage, and indeed, there's not enough damage. Over can't get everyone off the point. So what? DMX MG Over has to relinquish up to the high ground while a self-destruct comes down. Punky Jaeger gets killed. MG And the point does flip over mid-fight to Lucky Future, but Flag Gaming has the player advantage. They should easily be able to bring it right back. And at 38%, Lucky Future struggling to stay alive. They lose their Zenyatta. They have a couple ultimates, but very little leverage to actually use those ultimates. They have no sightlines to take advantage of. The fight's too crazy to really stay on the point comfortably, especially with Sowat just throwing their wrists around. Jason again, another barrage, gets 2.5. And that should be a cleanup now. Flag Gaming gets recontrol of the point. And unless Lucky Future can get there in time, Kenobi, this should be it.
Yeah, and Lucky Future weren't able to get with that ultimate advantage, weren't able to get onto the point, and they let Jason come back with that barrage, and he was able to clean up the rest of the fight. So really good job and really patient play coming out from FG there, knowing that they had the ultimate disadvantage, but getting this key picks in the early fight. You saw there Over with that Primal Rage was able to boop Tamper on that Brigitte off of the point. And Brigitte, one of those heroes where if you're on the on the point and you're fighting, you offer a lot of sustain, a lot of CC ability, and you lose that burst healing as well. So great job they're using that environmental kill and that Primal Rage to get Tamper out of the fight.
Absolutely. We see Mika moving over from the Mercy to Lucio for Ilios. Well, round 3 on Ilios between these two teams. I think this is the first time today that we've seen a third phase for control so far. So already closer than the previous sets. I would say that's a win already, Kenobi. Here we go, moving on to Ruins. Any thoughts on the compositions as they break out?
So it looks like here they're both going to be playing that Pharah, and Jason in that last map showed how good he is at Pharah, this new Pharah with the changes that she's had. But the interesting thing here is there's going to be the Hanzo for Blackbean, whereas Evil X has decided to take the Sombra. Sombra going to offer a little bit more utility, while Blackbean is going to have that Hanzo to try to get some one-shot potential and that damage on the tanks.
Yeah, the Pharah and the Hanzo. It's really interesting composition. I mean, Hanzo obviously falling out of the meta as the the grab Dragon Strike combination, losing favor over time. But Evil X, the one Sombra in this game could really make a difference. You need an EMP sometimes to counter the other team's EMP, and without it, that might be proof fatal for Lucky Future. To see how it works out for him. Having the Mercy though to get the reses will certainly pay off, and you can see Blackbean gets res, and immediately finds Over and Coldest, so it certainly paid off there. Lucky Future still staying alive. Tamper trying to hit these mid-air shots. Those shots are faster on this patch, but they still aren't connecting just yet. Jason, meanwhile, finds both tanks of Lucky Future, which means Lucky Future's gonna have a tough time maintaining on the point itself without those tanks to work with. Jason finding the Mercy again, and now there's the capture for Flag Game.
And it looked like it was going to be a fight in favor of Lucky Future there. Blackbean did use that Storm Arrow to get the tanks, and that's what Hanzo brings to the table, is that tank busting capability. But still, on the other side, you do have Jason as well on that Pharah who can do the same thing with that tank busting ability. So it's going to be a battle of which person can get those tanks down quicker, because it looks like Jason here has the upper hand.
Yep, and now Blackbean moving over to the Tracer from the Hanzo. So they really weren't shredding too much of the Hanzo. Why not do a little more engagement in the backline with the Tracer? And Blackbean trying to do that, but forced out by the Zenyatta, while Over gets Punky Jaeger in the meantime. Coldest now super low, and Blackbean comes back to finish the job, gets the kill on the Coldest. And now Jason on another barrage, ready to go all right. I mean, that has to be like a dozen barrages for him so far in the set, or something crazy like that. Tamper just about to get their barrage as well, and Flag Gaming is coalescing into this low ground area that's a little too close for comfort, but Tamper gets baited, and Jason literally swooshes right by them and gets the kill, and gets rid of Sleepy Bear in the meantime. Jason is completely outplaying Tamper on this Pharah, and Flag Gaming as a result at about 60% now on the point.
Not only is Jason outplaying them, but so is Over. Over is basically right now living in the backline of Lucky Future. He's always taking out Punky Jaeger, and he's always taking out the Lucio as well, just doing so much damage to that backline, really unmitigated. And now with Jason with this barrage for last fight, this could be all they need.
Oh, but Zenyatta, Coldest goes down early before the fight really gets started. Now MG doesn't have that healing over on him, has to be a little less aggressive, but Jason picking up the slack, finds Blackbean, finds Uderpe, and then Sleepy Bear gets D-Back. Jason looking for more. The damage rate is just too high for Lucky Future to deal with, and now they have two tank ultimates left, Kenobi, but only 10% to contest.
And they might not even be able to get back to this point at this point. But I mean, again, it's still Over just in the backline. He's able to kill Punky Jaeger and Uderpe at the start of that fight very early, even though they lost Coldest. So they definitely have this momentum to kill the backline as Tamper's going to go down.
Yeah, Tamper on the Sombra gets cut down by MG. Overtime ticking away. Blackbean gets caught out, but uses that time reversal to get away from the Pharah, and Jason's like, all right, I'm gonna find a new target. Completely turns the cold shoulder to the Tracer, looking for some more shots, finds the Diva, can help D-mech him, and look at that, just Flag Gaming focusing targets so swiftly there. There's nowhere for Lucky Future to run. Now the Lucio trying to stay alive. Jason putting some shots down, but doesn't have the splash damage anymore to finish up the kill. Evil X finds So What, gets D-mech now, is in Black Beam, gets killed by Evil X. Now an EMP coming out from Evil X, and that should be it. Tamper though gets rid of Evil X just on the outside of that EMP, and then uses their own EMP and gets almost down, but gets healed right back up. Lucky Future now in control of the point at 13%. Over, gets rid of Zenyatta, but I think Flag Gaming's burned everything and did not come out on top. They will forfeit the point to Lucky Future.
And a very, very clutch transcendence coming out from Punky Jaeger. Everlex had the EMP ready and willing, but it was just a second too late, and Punky was able to trans in front of it. So there was all of that damage that was mitigated by that transcendence that you could have gotten if the EMP had gone off for free.
Yeah, and so now Tamper and Evil X very close, literally tied for EMP charge. Whoever gets that next EMP first might win this map here. Now 42% for Lucky Future. They did lose their Tracer going into this, so no Pulse Bomb for the time being, but they could get a Sleepy Bear self-destruct, and there it goes right up onto the point. Will find Mika, losing that support. Now Over trying to even the odds, get rid of the other team's Lucio, but Over getting repelled, and now has Prime Rage using it to try and rejoin the Diva, and will do so. It's about 60% now for Lucky Future. They lost their Lucio. Tamper super low, gets cut down by Over, who has that Primal Rage, now finds the other Winston, forcing him off the point. Flag Gaming might be able to just steal the point away from Lucky Future during the fight, and there it is, right there, overtime now taken away. Lucky Future nowhere to be found, and Flag Gaming, as they get rid of the reinforcements, should be able to take this last round of Ilios. Utorpe is not able to stay alive long enough, and Flag Gaming take this Ilios round 2-1, and they will be up in the series 1-0.
And then that last fight, just a little bit unlucky from Uturpe there. He tried to sound barrier, but unfortunately the Zenyatta was just out of his LOS and the sound barrier didn't connect. And after that, Ober was just able to get into the back line, kill the Zenyatta, and then kill the Lucio after. So just an unfortunate sound barrier there coming out that could have saved both of them, and maybe it saved the fight for them. But Over was able to capitalize, get that back line, and then get the rest of the team out of the way. And Flag Gaming was able to win that series. But it is definitely a lot closer than we've been seeing. Like you said, third map that we've finally seen on Control. So I'm definitely happy that we're going to be getting a close series, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly a good start for the series. Gives me some hope. So we might be going beyond 4 maps, but we'll see. We don't want to, count our chickens before they hatch. That was just the first map. It is a 1-0 lead here for Flag Gaming over Lucky Future. But don't go anywhere. Here on Broadcast.gg, we're bringing you some more maps in this third and final match of the day. So do stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. More Overwatch on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for map number 2 between our two competitors here. In match number 3, it is Flag Gaming versus Lucky Future. We're going to Hollywood for map number 2. It is 1-0 currently for Flag Gaming after a 2-1 win on Ilios and Kenobi. We're finally seeing some Hollywood for map 2 for our third and final match of the day. What do you have, any expectations, in terms of both of these teams after we saw in Ilios?
Yeah, we're traveling around the world a little bit. It's almost like Overwatch has other maps that aren't Numbani for hybrid maps. So I'm really happy that we're going to be seeing Hollywood a little bit of a change of pace again from Control. And I think this is a map where we're probably going to be maybe seeing some hit scan play, some Hanzo play as well. I think Farah also might show her face here because on attack you do have that large skybox that you can use to your advantage. So you can bring out anything here. You can also bring out the bunker comp where you just put the Orisa behind that, put the Orisa on that high ground and then use that Junker.
Yeah, and Lucky Future was teasing that Doomfist a little bit. I was thinking, the offensive Doomfist, definitely a good option to get control of the high ground if need be, but it looks like they're going to go for Hanzo Farah. Composition of their own, supported by a Winston D.Va here out on offense, the Zenyatta Mercy. But, they're going to have to run into, they have to worry about that biotic grenade from Coldest. But because they have, the Hanzo and the Farah, it's going to be hard to really get these targets together. And certainly Evil X also has to take that into consideration as well. Landing EMP is certainly going to be hard against this Lucky Future team. We'll see how it works out. Flag Gaming on defense already getting aggressive here, trying to separate Lucky Future. But they do have Tamper to worry about, up shooting in the skybox. A lot of those shots into the background, into that, back line of the Lucky Future defense. And already Flag Gaming putting some pressure on the point.
And Punky Jaeger is going to go down. That's a very good pick. That's the Zenyatta out of the fight. But Over is going to sacrifice his life for it. So an even trade so far, and not even made anymore because you have that Mercy Rest of Punky Jaeger back in this fight.
It gets rezzed right up now, about just over the 30-minute mark here, and so far, just very little of the point taken here by Lucky Future. They're trying to get it from Flag Gaming, but it's immediately touched by Over. And Flag Gaming does have the nano boost. Coldest throws that down, and MG's the one. He's the target, gets that nano boost. Now chasing down the Farah, but has the Mercy pocket, but that nano boost is damage. Almost enough to get rid of the Farah. Nonetheless, MG does get the self-destruct out to try and keep themselves in the fight, but no, they get killed by So Up before they're able to get back in the cockpit. Now Tamper gets the barrage kill. Blackbean has the Dragon Strike, putting some shots down, trying to clean up the D.Va, but the D.Va gets back into cover just in time. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to change on the point. As point A is about 2/3 or so taken already. Blackbean, Dragon Strike, and then another on Evil X. Now chasing down the Winston, who Primal Rages. Point A still not taking it. He was looking for the Tracer. Meanwhile, Punky Jaeger throws down a Transcendent to try and stifle the Primal Raging Winston, and it works out pretty well so far. Lucky Future still trying to actually capture point A. Flag Gaming drawing out this defense as long as possible, and they finally do give it up, but they chewed away about 2 minutes from the offensive push of Lucky Future.
Blackbean showing the value of Hanzo here, not only using that Storm Arrow to melt the tanks like Over and MG who are just running at him, but you also have that one-shot capability with your headshots. And if you have the aim that Blackbean seems to have right now, you can definitely use this Hanzo to basically carry your team through a point, and there Blackbean really did.
You see Lucky Future now changing up their composition slightly. They have Tamper moving over to the Bree. So giving up that Farah, they've all right, the second phase is a little too open for Farah. There's not enough cover to really take as that character. They're just going to get a lot more tanky, a lot stockier as a composition, and try and just bum rush and bully their way through phase 2. But Evil X was waiting with that EMP the whole time, throws it down, helps get 2 kills. Self-destruct with Sleepy Bear does demech at MG, who then gets killed by Blackbean, but overall, and a majority kills coming from Flag Gaming.
Yeah, not much you can do there against that EMP and the dive that came in. Really good dive from FG there. Waited until Over was available to save it, to follow up on the EMP, and then Evil X hit it, and the rest of the team was dying around him. So great coordinated dive using that EMP as well. But FG really don't have a lot of ultimates going into this next fight, whereas Lucky Future still have that Dragon Strike available.
But they'll definitely build up those ultimates in this preceding fight here. MG getting in closer and closer to that self-destruct, which will dislodge Lucky Future off the payload when need be, or just to keep him in the fight. So what now, jumping in here, or Over jumps in, that is, and using the primaries to keep themselves alive and harder to dislodge. Dragon Strike cutting through mid, and that's not going to get much. MG and Over getting the kills instead, and Over is so over right now. Tons of heat on him, moving back to Evil X on Blackbean finds a kill just under that 3-minute mark, and Lucky Future still unable to get control of the payload.
And that was a fight won only because of that Primal Rage from Over. He was able to get into the backline, get a couple of kills on the supports, and using only that Primal Rage to push the team back, it looks like they're going to have a very good ult economy going into this next fight, whereas Lucky Future don't really have too much to their name.
And the big difference here, Lucky Future does not have EMP, and Blackbean gets a kill, but no EMP. Evil X is the one with the EMP. MG also with the self-destruct, and Lucky Future caught up in this, in the crossfire at the choke point. And the second they step through that choke point, they're going to get hit by the EMP. They're on the payload now. Evil X looking for it. There it is. Lucky Future getting caught out. 3 or 4 caught in the EMP, and Punky Jaeger and Sleepy Bear also going down immediately. MG holding onto the self-destruct. Good play there. Not necessary to burn that. Now Lucky Future, about 2 minutes still, has barely gotten anywhere on the second phase.
Exceptional patience they're coming out from Evil X with that EMP. Waited for the moment where the Transcendence from Punky Jaeger was going to be over, and then popped it, and then was able to snowball with that damage and get that Zenyatta out of the fight early. But Lucky Future is going to come back with an EMP of their own, and this might get the fight win for them.
Yep, gets the EMP down. It was behind the bubble, but it was our own team's bubble. All good. Blackbean and Sleepy Bear getting kills. 64 situation for Lucky Future. They're pushing up aggressively. D-Mac the Diva. And without those supports, there's no way to keep the Diva alive or over as well. The supports go down, then the tanks. And Flag Gaming finally lose control of the payload. But there's only less than a minute and 30 seconds for Lucky Future to get to the second phase, and that's not guaranteed here.
But they do have a couple of ults to their, or 3 ults rather, to their name for this next fight. They do have that Primal Rage and that Diva ultimate, but again, it's just off of that EMP that they've been winning, and Evil X is getting close to his. This Evil X EMP might be what they need to stop the bleeding and hold them at the second point here.
Holdus fragging out a little bit, gets rid of Punky Jaeger. Now 6v4 advantage for Flag Gaming before the fight really even gets started at all. And this is just free ult charge for Flag Gaming. Now they have an EMP of their own. Blackbean, not even halfway to their own EMP, and less than a minute for Lucky Future to really get control of the payload and get some more ultimate charge.
Especially when we're going into last fight territory rapture here. Look out for this EMP from Evil X, because this could be what decides the map. Only 40 seconds left. You get maybe 1, maybe 2 good fights in this for this last point. So they need to Lucky Future really needs to make this happen here.
Yeah, and Lucky Future has, other than the Brie, really has very little crowd control at all to deal with Flag Gaming to shut them down. So Flag Gaming can use all these ultimates unabated as they go in. Again, quick kills on the supports this time. Lucky Future losing so much necessary healing. All 3 supports are down for Lucky Future. There's almost no hope for them to win this fight, and Flag Gaming doesn't have to burn a single ultimate to win it. And now 10 seconds left on the clock. Lucky Future literally needs a miracle to even touch the payload right now. Flag Gaming in complete control, and all Flag Gaming has to do is hit Q. Here comes Evil X waiting for the EMP. Should get 5 on this one, gets 3 or 4 as they run away. Punky Jaeger immediately melts. Coldus also won on Tamper. Flag Gaming an immense advantage here over Lucky Future, and Blackbean gets an EMP out, but it's too little too late. They don't even get to stay alive long enough to see the fruits of their labor. Flag Gaming with an overtime victory here on defense. Lucky Future holding on as long as they can, but it's not long enough. Now Flag Gaming holding Lucky Future only halfway through the map, and that's all they need to get the map for themselves.
And there you see Flag Gaming winning the vanilla Overwatch battle. You mentioned in that last fight they had about 5 ultimates going into that last fight, but they decided to just win off of a very clean dive onto the backline, not having to waste any ultimates. And like I said, there was 1 or 2 good fights, and when it was like 10 seconds left and they were trying to get back on for Lucky Future, you were going up against such a big ultimate wall. You had Evil X, who had that EMP and was able to get Punky Jaeger out of the fight very, very early. So really good ult patience coming out from Flag Gaming, because sometimes you just see that Zenyatta who's just getting dove on and you just hit EMP. No, they decided to keep their ultimates for that very, very last fight.
I think Lucky Future is having a problem that we saw, pretty hard in our first match, Kenobi, right? Where we weren't seeing like supports being, peeled by their tanks. I think the same thing's happening here for Lucky Future, right? Like very often their supports are being caught out by themselves. The tanks aren't there to peel for their team. But even then, Flag Gaming is so good at like eliminating an entire role from Lucky Future. Like they tank out all the tanks at the same time. They take out all the supports at the same time. They got all the DPS at the same time. And they can like slice and dice up, like they portion up Lucky Future. Oh, we'll have a little bit for later, some leftovers to take care of. Like Flag Gaming really like setting the pace of these fights, and that's paying off in the long term.
And I mean, it's still a little bit hard as a support, when you're going up against something like an EMP, especially if you're a Zenyatta. As you know, you lose 150 health automatically, and if that Sombra is anywhere near your hitbox, he's going to be able to get you. So with these EMPs being farmed very quickly, it's very hard for those Zenyatas to live, and you have to rely a lot on the peel, which like you mentioned, Lucky Future might need to work on a little bit more for Punky Jaeger.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Flag Gaming on their own attempt here on offense in the green, moving out with, their win conditions set out ahead of them. They only have to get through the first half of the map, and they're being very aggressive. And Lucky Future kind of almost anticipating this, is flexible and falls back, but they push themselves into the staircase. It's super close. It's gonna be easier for these kills to come, but Lucky Future, I was baiting Flag Gaming. The strat works out. They push Flag Gaming all the way up the corridor, and it looked like Flag Gaming might be able to melt Lucky Future. Lucky Future using their Bree to stun Flag Gaming and allow them to do all this damage to Flag Gaming in that corridor. Great play by Lucky Future.
Not just stun Flag Gaming, but stun Jason on the Doomfist more specifically. Was able to get that stun, and the follow-up was so good from Lucky Future to get that Doomfist out of the way, because if you are in a confined space with a Doomfist, that's the last place you want to be. So great job from them. It's going to force Jason to switch over to the Pharaoh, and Evil X is going to be going over to the Sombra, so a little bit more damage coming out from this Flag Gaming team.
And now Flag Gaming be a little more direct. They're going to push up right through mid again. Over pushing back a little bit, trying to, there we go right there. You're seeing, like, making sure, Over's right there for Punky, to get rid of Punky, but helping out his supports as well, peeling for his team and putting pressure on anyone that, harassed the Flag Gaming supports. And Jason, meanwhile, doing all this damage. I mean, who do you focus on? The Winston, getting in your face with the from far away, doing all this damage. So it's really hard. Lucky Future's attention being divided consistently by Flag Gaming.
And while Tamper has been doing a good job of playing aggressive, the one thing he's not doing is sticking by his Zenyatta. And if Over has been playing this super aggressive style where he's just trying to dive onto Punky Jaeger time after time after time, I'd like to see Tamper reel it back a bit and stay with the Zenyatta, because Punky Jaeger is basically left on an island right now, and you really need someone there to either give him that armor pack, or you need to be able to shield bash Over so that he can't get that kill onto Punky Jaeger, because Punky Jaeger is having a really difficult time dealing with this dive.
And now there's the rally coming out from Tamper. Lucky Future rushing the payload, and they just got both of their all three of their tank ults at the exact same time. Self-destruct from downtown finds Jason. Now Blackbeam going to push up aggressively, but they're pushed off by the Primal Raging Winston. Coldest about to get Transcendence too. That'll definitely help Flag Gaming sustain through this fight. And so what, we'll get rid of Over in the meantime, while Blackbeam pushing out the front line of Flag Gaming, holding onto a Graviton of their own.
And a nice Diva Bomb there coming out from Sleepy there was able to get Jason, and once you get that Pharah, a lot of your damage is gone from this composition. And you have Evil X with this EMP, as we've seen throughout this series so far. EMP is the name of the game. If these EMPs are enough to hit 4 or 5 people, it's going to be a team fight win for you.
Yeah, those EMPs be hitting. That's that good stuff right there. Flag Gaming now pushing up. There's a Graviton that goes down. Oh, the Matrix completely just devours the barrage from Jason, but Jason's able to get enough missile power out to put down Sleepy Bear's mech, and then Punky gets killed by Evil X. MG now with the self-destruct, just waiting things out in this fight, trying not to take too much damage, get too much ult charge, and then falls back to try and help out and get rid of this Zarya. Flag Gaming, the losing players left and right, they're being stalled out just as much as they were in the previous. I mean, Lucky Future right now looking like Flag Gaming. And not only that, they're really not burning too many ultimates to make it happen.
And now it looks like Jason's switching over to this Brigitte, going to offer a little bit more CC and a little bit more sustain in these team fights, because these team fights are going so long, and you just have a fight on the payload. If you have this Brigitte here, it's going to be able to counter Tamper's healing that's going to be brought.
Oh no, Tamper goes down early. And that's the problem, is that Flag Gaming only has to be right once. Lucky Future has to hold constantly for another, over 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes here. And then they lose their support. Graviton comes down. Blackbeam does get a kill on the Coldest, but that is it. Sleepy Bear gets demeched, and they're completely dislodged from the point. Lucky Future has to actually get onto the payload. They've all been pushed off or killed. And Flag Gaming complete control of the payload right here. Not only that, they have ultimates to burn. Lucky Future only has 2 support ultimates. They can sustain through a fight, but they don't have the damage output to eat through Flag Gaming's health pool. And that's what Flag Gaming has going for them through this, going into this last fight here. Now Lucky Future pushing up. They have the Winston. Oh, but someone has to go and touch the payload. Someone barely does. The Winston, so what, actually going away from the payload at first. Over now pushing up harder. And that's going to be Blackbeam going down. Over still hugely over here. Flag Gaming complete control there at 2 minutes. Primal Rage being popped by So What, but it's in desperation mode. They get hit by the EMP from Evil X. Now here comes the snowball. The players are all ready to follow up. MG with the DMAC on Sleepy Bear. Lucky Future are getting body bagged and thrown against the wall, ragdoll to the floor, and Flag Gaming will complete after holding Lucky Future halfway through the map. They will take it and make this set 2-0.
And this game looking a little bit more dominant than the previous one. And really the issue here for Lucky Future, I believe, is just their aggression's not controlled. It feels like the aggression's coming out. You know, we saw sometimes Sleepy Bear and Blackbean just go into the backline by themselves. Tamper as well, just playing a little bit too aggressive, and there's no one really there to help them. So Lucky Future needs to reel it in a little bit. You can play this hyper aggressive style when you're all diving into the backline, but you need to all be on the same page. And here it looks like Lucky Future might not be.
Yeah, hopefully they turn to the right chapter before this set ends up. But there's a lot to talk about in those first two maps. We're going to throw it over to the desk. Blank and the rest. What have you got to say?
Hello. I guess we're on. We're ready.
Yeah.
We're here. How you guys doing again? We're back.
It sounds
So
like
we're going to be going down on a lot of the analysis points at the moment. So let's start.
I just want to
Ilios.
say, Rapture, that sounds like a terrible punk band. Blank and the rest.
And the rest, yeah, like I mean that would not do well. I can imagine the ratings going very much down. But you add Albion and Val's into the mix.
I call
maybe
drums.
get something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Val's on the drums. I can imagine that'd be pretty cool indeed. But what else is pretty cool is the way that Ilios panned out. It was not as close as we was closer than we expected to be, actually. I think one of the big things though we saw on Ruins was that Flag Gaming kind of played into their hands of Lucky Future there, which is why it was Lucky Future took such a dominant role on it. Now, Albion, I know that you were looking a lot into that, so could you take us a little bit more through what happened exactly on Ruins?
Yeah, so for Flag Gaming, they rolled out with Jason on the Widowmaker, and of course, Ruins has been kind of a historic point for Widowmaker, where you think to like Pine and all these great Widowmaker players. Who Ruins is really a point on Ilios that they've shined. So Jason rolls out on the Widow, and he's unable to make anything really happen in that first fight. And for some odd reason, they decide to switch him to Doomfist, and they switch him into Doomfist, Sombra, Zenyatta, and that's basically the hardest composition you can be playing Doomfist into.
Yeah.
Because you can get hacked, you can get stunned, and the whole time you're discorded, and then you just die. And we saw quite frequently Jason was getting chased by the enemy Winston while he was hacked and just killed, and he was never able to make anything really happen on the Doomfist. He only got a couple of kills there, and they also had their off tank on Brig instead of Diva for a lot of that map, so they weren't able to really fight for space or properly peel, because if Brig was out of LOS of Jason on the Doomfist, then there's no heal coming through, whereas Diva could shift over to him and potentially peel. So they really did just kind of make that mistake there. But luckily for them, it was kind of the only big slip up they made, and from there they were still able to win Ilios.
Yeah, it didn't go too badly for them. Flag Gamer, they do come out on top. One thing that did interest me though was the way that you see Lucky Future use the actual some decent rotations on Lighthouse there. They circumvent a lot of Pharah's damage, a lot of the splash coming through, and make sure he doesn't get the barrage early by moving round through mini, then through mega straight to point. And that worked quite well. But something that happened after that is that Flag Gaming made a really good response. These are the things that needs to happen for them to succeed, Vals.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great adjustment from Flag Gaming. Like the rotation you mentioned when they went all the way around to circumvent Farah's damage and get onto the far side of Lighthouse worked out. They did it once, nearly worked out, couldn't quite execute. They attempted it again. Flag Gaming were right on top of it, immediately had Evil X waiting with the EMP, shut it down before they could even start. And it's consistently what we're seeing from Flag Gaming. Immediately identifying what Lucky Future's trying to go for, making the quick adjustments, and then being able to force their style, constantly playing Evil X on the Sombra into unfavorable matchups, taking the Farah into, again, maybe unfavorable matchups, and still being able to actually execute. It's really smart play from Flag Gaming to be able to set up these matchups.
Yeah, they do force the hand of Lucky Future a lot of times and force their play style onto them. And that's something we saw in Hollywood a lot of times, Albion, didn't we? It was kind of weird because the composition they were playing, which was very dive heavy, should have been pretty much countered out by what Lucky Future was playing, but some certain interactions kind of stopped that. We did see the push being thwarted a little bit after point A was taken, but other than that, we don't really think it should have worked.
Yeah, realistically, when you're kind of in that match between Brig Sombra that Flag Gaming had, and especially early on when Lucky Future was on the Hanzo Brig, it should be very easy for the Hanzo team to take space and create room on the cart and actually allow their tanks to walk in, because you have much more tank damage. The Winston and Diva for Flag Gaming should have been taking a lot more damage than they were, and in turn they should be forced to leave, and then Lucky Future is able to actually progress the cart, but it wasn't really happening, and the EMPs were getting so much value because realistically, it just felt like Lucky Future forgot about the EMPs. I don't know who's doing ult tracking for them, who's calling, but they were not playing around them properly. They were stacking their Zenyatta and Lucio and Brig on top of each other. You're hitting all three supports in that EMP, and there's no healing coming out. And there's no way you win a fight when you make kind of that large of a positional error. And like we mentioned now, it allows you to kind of force these maybe losing matchups that you shouldn't be coming out on top of, but they still were.
Yeah, on another place where we saw that was the EMPs that came out on Hollywood from the side of Flag Gaming, and it just seemed like that switched on attitude that Lucky Future had on Ilios, making a cognizant play to play around those EMPs, just faded away, didn't they, Vars?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, talking about forcing their style on Lucky Future, Evalex has only attempted one push where he hasn't been playing the Sombra. They briefly brought out a triple tank with Doomfist at the start of Hollywood. Didn't work. They immediately went back to running the Brig and the Sombra. But again, it's the fact that Lucky Future haven't been able to adapt to deal with a Sombra, even though it hasn't been finding immense amounts of value. Sure, there's been great EMPs. It hasn't been carrying any fight, but he's still doing enough to not warrant a swap. Lucky Future aren't able to adjust and specifically punish some of these matchups that, when you look at the compositions, the positioning, it should be playing Lucky Future's favor. They just aren't able to actually capitalize and execute on these matchups.
No, not at all. And it's really tough for both of these teams at the moment. I think that Lucky Future can make a bit of more of an interesting play around what Flag Gaming are doing. But Flag Gaming, they seem to be just forcing their own playstyle, which could come back to bite them. But we do have our next map. It is Assault. We will be moving straight over to Hanamura. So let's pass this one back onto the casters.
Thanks, Blank. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for map number 3 between Flag Gaming and Lucky Future. I'm Rapture, still here with Kenobi, and it's time for Hanamura as Flag Gaming is currently up 2-0. Kenobi, how you feeling after that halftime?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm re-energized. Got some coffee because we're getting towards the later halves of these series, but I'm definitely ready and ready to go. See some more Overwatch. Hanamura, it's going to be the third time we're seeing this map, map, I believe, throughout this entire day. So definitely excited to see it. And it looks like both of these teams, Lucky Future, they mentioned it on the desk. Lucky Future had a rough time with their tank play and with the Sombra play, rather, coming out from Evalex. So I'm interested to see how they adapt and try and deal with the Sombra. Maybe bring out a Sombra of your own. Maybe use that Brigitte a little bit more passively and try to make sure that you stun the Sombra and can burst her before she's able to translocate away. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Both of these teams yet to play a Hanamura, of course. So far, this is their first matches, of the season. We did see it in our previous match on match 1, that is with T1W. So it's the second time we're seeing it here today, and Lucky Future coming out on offense first with a composition that we've seen from them throughout the series so far, and they're rushing to the right side immediately, trying to get a little bit of high ground advantage, but just rushing through and trying to avoid that mid-push area. But of course, Flag Gaming waiting right there for them, over right upstairs, waiting for Lucky Future to poke out, and that over will push back. And Lucky Future going for a full high ground rotation. This is, pretty innocuous. This is like almost an obscure kind of push. You rarely kind of see this, and they're forcing themselves into this small corner right here. The Diva gets hit by the sleep. Big biotic grenade going down. Not going to get a huge anti-heal, though. But nonetheless, Flag Gaming waiting for Lucky Future to eventually poke. Flag Gaming now putting some pressure on the choke point as their tank gets slept there. And that'll be the Diva Sleepy trying to get away after getting slept. MG just safely putting on some damage out from afar. D-Max Sleepy Bear. Uterbre gets knocked and falls off the map. That Diva will also get caught. And it looks like Lucky Future is just going to kind of accept their fate and accept the loss of Flag Gaming.
And that's the power of Doomfist. Jason really didn't do anything but just besides be there. And they're so scared of the Doomfist coming in and diving onto their tanks and one-shotting one of their supports that they have to take that high ground rotation. They have to play so patient because you make one misstep against the Doomfist composition, one of your supports is just going to get blown up. So they did get a couple of ultimates. They do have this Graviton and this rally for this next fight. But again, EvilX with this EMP, very, very, very close.
That's the thing. The second Lucky Future steps in, you know a lot of damage is coming in from EvilX and that EMP eventually as well. Even trade here, Blackbean and Jason both going down, 5v5 situation, over using Primal Rage to get out, but really just using it to stay alive here. And EvilX has the EMP ready to go. Lucky Future doesn't want to clump up here against that. Self-destruct out, and that's not going to kill, get too much pay dirt there. It does do some damage, but no kills. So what? Jumping away, has the Primal Rage ready to go here, Kenobi. And Lucky Future has some tank ultimates, but they're gonna get hit by the EMP, and EvilX lands it perfectly right on the point. MG with the self-destruct, there's nowhere to run for Lucky Future, but they're still getting the kills. Sleepy Bear and Blackbean both finding a DPS tank and a healer, and EvilX going down as well. Lucky Future staying alive, their tanks able to hold on despite the EMP from EvilX, and that converts into a point capture here for Lucky Future.
And the hero of that last fight has to be Tamper on that Brigitte, using his shield dash effectively to stop Jason from getting into the backline, was able to, and then the rest of the team able to follow up on the damage needed to get him out of that fight early. Really good job there, and they're going to be rewarded with another Graviton going into this next fight. They might be able to just try and push this all the way, because Flag Gaming, no ultimates to speak of on their side.
Yeah, no, not only that, but they're only going to get one or two during this next fight, so they really need to keep everyone alive. And Punky Jaeger goes down early. They had Transcendence, 6v4 situation, 6v3 situation for Flag Gaming on the high ground. Lucky Future gets absolutely annihilated before they even get anywhere close to touching the point.
And that is absolutely disastrous miscommunication coming from Lucky Future Zenith there. The tanks wanted to go in, but the support line was getting absolutely mauled by Jason on that Doomfist. And now you've let Flag Gaming come back, and they have charged ultimates of their own. They have the Transcendence now. They're close to getting that EMP again, and Jason has this Meteor Strike. So you let Flag Gaming come back into this game a little bit when Lucky Future had such a huge ultimate advantage going into that fight.
Yeah, and they're pretty much about to be at max ultimates as this fight goes on, but Flag Gaming has more than enough to respond with, and EvilX should get the EMP during the fight. Jason has that burst option. Mika, Biotic Grenade thrown down, but doesn't hit huge onto Lucky Future, really just bolstering up Flag Gaming now. As Blackbean is hacked, EvilX getting closer and closer to EMP. The high ground should be able to take it. Oh, Jason deciding not to go into high ground, deciding again to go away from it. Might have gotten collapsed upon if he landed on the high ground. There's too much Lucky Future to deal with. There's the EMP from EvilX. Now, trying to convert onto these tanks, but trying to stay alive as well, going into the back line and avoiding the damage is over, picking up the slack, gets two. Now jumping away as Jason uppercutting against the Zarya, and EvilX steals the kill. Flag Gaming with another convincing fight win here, isolating Lucky Future one by one and winning the fight.
And Punky Jaeger there was able to Transcendence outside of the EMP, but he just wasn't able to save his team, wasn't able to position himself well enough, and was kind of zoned out. So unfortunate for Punky Jaeger that his Transcendence didn't get the value it needed. But again, Lucky Future still have ultimates to their name to take this next fight, whereas Flag Gaming really only have two to their name.
Yeah, in just over 3 minutes. For Lucky Future on the clock. Blackbean gonna wait out the Matrix before using that Graviton. Just completely circumvents the Diva while over using the Primal Rage. Great play there because Blackbean was about to use the Graviton, so now they're not in position to use it anymore thanks to that Primal Rage. Flag Gaming have a bunch of ultimates to burn as this fight goes over towards the payload, but over has to be careful. They're super low. Here comes the self-destruct on the point. Flag Gaming gets a cover just in time, and they kill MG to boot. Jason now trying to pick up the slack, but they're going to go up to the high ground, try and do some, safe damage from above before jumping down the Zenyatta. Isolates that target, can't get the kill, but the Graviton does suck him into place. Uturba gets the kill and over. Tamper swinging away, trying to get the Ana away from the fight and cut off that sightline, doing a great job of doing so. And that Diva will get DMX, pops out just in time. Jason and Coldest in control, get the kills. Flag Gaming taking complete control of the kill feed. Coldest popping off right here. Certainly giving everyone the cold shoulder right there. Just a blank stare of a killer. And now 2 minutes and change on the clock here for Lucky Future as they're denied the point yet again.
And Lucky Future held onto that Graviton for such a long time, and when it was used, there was just nothing that came. There was no damage follow-up from it, and Blackbean didn't really get the value he wanted from it. If you're going to be holding on to Grav for that long, you need to make sure that you're going to be getting the value, because that's an ultimate that you really need to win and win fights with.
Absolutely. And here's Evil X doing some more scouting, seeing, Lucky Future hasn't changed up really anything. Moving for that high ground position, just trying to feed some ult charge off the back line. Jason clobbers Punky Jaeger. And that's his cue to go in even harder, knowing you're not going to have to worry about that Discord orb on him. And Tamper literally just feeding to Jason there. Colt's another one on Blackbean. And Lucky Future getting destroyed. Flag game with a 6v3 advantage. And that's going to stop Lucky Future again. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock as Flag Gaming, even though they are holding off, Lucky Future has been able to steal away almost 2/3 of the point, Kenobi.
And Lucky Future have been trying to take this high ground rotation time and time again, but it just doesn't seem to be working for them. Usually, Jason is getting into the back line and one-shotting the supports with the Doomfist, as we know he likes to do. But going into this, Punky Jaeger has this transcendence. It has to be used because with a minute left, you don't have many fights left.
Nope, not at all. Oh, Sleepy Bear throwing a ton of missiles on that barrier, still getting away with a ton of damage done. Tamper finds Jason. Now all of Lucky Future have ultimates to use. Flag Gaming playing aggressive so that way, they get the fight outside. They can then rejoin the fight when it transitions to the point, but they are going to give up a little more charge possibly here with a huge advantage to Flag Gaming on the point itself. Now self-destruct coming out here from MG, forces Lucky Future to cover, but they'll do it handedly, and they get kills. Lucky Future have 3 ultimates to burn as well as So What using their Primal Rage, but then Over goes down as well. Lucky Future in control, and they get the point. And Flag Gaming unable to sustain on the point long enough. They didn't have ultimates to burn, really little to work with to keep their opponents off the point. And that means, all right, Lucky Future still have a chance on this map.
And finally, the high ground rotation works out, and it was because they really clumped up and made sure that Jason couldn't get into the backline and one-shot Punky Jaeger. They were able to hit him with the Brigade to stun, follow up with the damage, and once you have that, once Jason is out of the fight, you're 5v6, you can walk onto the point and try and get a lot of damage and win that fight, and it worked out for them with the ultimates that they had. So finally, they got rid of Jason, and Jason had been doing such a good job of just being such a menace, stopped fights before they were even happening with his ability to get into the backline and one-shot the supports.
Well, that's the thing, is that Jason was so comfortable overextending that, at that last fight, overextended a little too hard, got punished for it, and the timing was really perfect for Lucky Future. It was, the punishment, getting rid of Over and Jason as they kind of got away from the rest of their team there, worked out perfectly for Lucky Future, and they transitioned that into a point capture. Also helped that they had some portion of the, point completed already, helped them get that swift capture. So Flag Gaming now on their offensive attempt, going to be breaking out on the green. Kenobi, Lucky Future with a great offensive push, but it took so much time for them to do it. What do you think they got to change it up to be a little better time-wise?
It seems that they have changed to this more of a dive composition with the Sombra and the Doomfist. There's going to be basically what Flag Gaming is running on defense themselves. They haven't run it too much this series. I would like to see how they're going to be able to deal with Tamper on this Doomfist. We saw Jason playing it very, very well on the other side. So if they can have the same success with this Sombra Doomfist dive that, that Flag Gaming is having, they're definitely in a good position to try and hold this point.
Mm-hmm. And now Flag Gaming breaking out with the Evil X Jason combo of Sombra and Tracer respectively. So Jason now moving over to the Tracer from the Doomfist. What do you think about that swap?
I think it's a good swap. There's a lot of damage that output that you have from this and a lot of flanking potential. Tracer and Sombra, if they dive onto one backline, it's most likely going to be a death for that support. So, you can also just flank around and get into the point. So I think this is a really good swap from Flag Gaming.
Mm-hmm. Now Lucky Future realizing that Flag Gaming's putting some pressure on the point, but they're doing a push almost to what Lucky Future did earlier, and Over got slept as a result and then hacked. Still, Over gets the kill on the Punky Jaeger as they wake up, and now it's a 5v4 situation for Flag Gaming until Lucky Future get 2 swift kills, and now 4v3 for Lucky Future. They're going to continue to push Flag Gaming back, but Flag Gaming, I would say that's a pretty effective team fight there because they got 1/3 of point A off of it.
Got 1/3 of point A, and they got some kills, so the Lucky Future is going to be down a couple of men. It looks like they're going to get back to the point just in time. Punky Jaeger has to move his little Omnic self to that point, but Flag Gaming has this nano, and it's interesting to see who they're going to put it on. They might put it on Over, try and farm up a little bit more of that Primal Rage.
Oh, great biotic there by Coldest. It's going to make it hard for that Diva to get away, but Sleepy Bear still gets a kill on the Evil X. And Over, a nano boosted, putting pressure on anyone on the point. Both Lucky Future's remaining supports go down. The only 2 supports they have get melted immediately. And now Flag Gaming control the point. The self-destruct, though, Over doesn't take cover and pays the ultimate price. Sleepy Bear gets the kill. And now with that, Sleepy Bear can get right up onto the point and demeching MG with the help of Blackbean. And just like that, off of that one ult kill, that frees up Sleepy Bear to do a lot more work after the fact. Lucky Future pushing Flag Gaming into the grave at a swift death too. About 2 minutes, Flag Gaming only has 2/3 of point A.
the counter dive from Lucky Future was so good there. You saw Over get into the backline with that nano boost, but all that time, the rest of the tanks from Lucky Future were just in the backline of Flag Gaming, and there was really nothing they could do. They had no peel because their Winston was trying to get those kills on the point. So great job there. And the EMP comes down and looks like another dive is going to be able to stop them right in their tracks.
Yeah, Flag Gaming wasn't even able to walk through the choke point before they got EMP'd right there. And I feel like this is kind of like the theme of this so far, is that Flag Gaming has been able to do whatever they want, and now Lucky Future's stopping them, and they haven't changed their tune yet, so Lucky Future keeps battering them back. Flag Gaming, though, are able to get a few kills here. If they can get Tamper, that'd be huge, but Tamper might be able to knock this Tracer out.
One
Gets the
help!
Yeah, super low. Sleepy Bear comes in just in the nick of time, though, and helps get rid of Jason. Lucky Future now reducing Flag Gaming to just over a minute. This is almost a completely different team than we saw previously. And Flag Gaming almost seems like they don't have any answers for this. Like they were so comfortable with getting the work done how they wanted to do it. Now that Lucky Future has an answer, Flag Gaming doesn't seem like they have a chance to change this up.
It looks like here the fight, the Transcendence is coming out, so there's a lot of sustain here. There is this self-destruct from MG, and he is going to be able to kill Blackbean, so Flag Gaming might have gotten the picks they needed to push this point over. Punky Jaeger's gone too.
And that throwing down a big shot there, Evil X, or Blackbean gets caught out just before they got the EMP. That comes right back, and we'll have that ready. But it might not be ready for this first point. 30 seconds left, and as long as they get rid of this Lucio, that should be it. And there it is. Flag Gaming finally gets point A.
And unfortunately, Blackbean there died with that EMP, and I have to believe that if that EMP was available in that last fight, they would have been able to get that point and win them that point, because only 30 seconds left they had. That's the last fight territory right there. So it's just a really unfortunate situation that Blackbean went down there.
And now going over to point B here, Flag Gaming need just, they have 4 minutes on the clock here to get this point B from Lucky Future, who have only the EMP to contest with.
And this EMP from Evil X as well, so it's a battle of EMPs here in this next fight. Who can get theirs off first, because that will determine who most likely is going to win this fight.
And Evil X has the EMP ready to go here. Colas will find Sleepy Bear, and now Lucky Future going to be able to try and hold off Flag Gaming as long as possible here.
Tamper is going to get the kill onto Evil X, and he's going to actually just frag out by himself. The triple kill from Tamper is going to stop FG rather in their tracks, and it's amazing. We still haven't seen an EMP come out from either Evil X or Blackbean, the two ultimates that we thought were going to be the most influential, but no, it's Tamper just getting into the backline, using that Doomfist one-shot potential to its greatest.
And Flag Gaming now just at 3 minutes left on the clock here. Have time to work with, but they're slowly biding their time. There's really no rush to get this done on Lucky Future, and now they're going to put some pressure on the point itself, trying to force Lucky Future play their hand here. And now here comes the EMP from Blackbean. Tamper following through on the Meteor Strike, gets 2, and it's a huge wipe for Lucky Future. They get 4 kills plus the D-Met onto the Diva there, MG, and they'll shut down Flag Gaming.
The EMP finally comes from Blackbean, and it's comboed with Tamper's Doomfist Meteor Strike, and it's able to wipe the enemy team of Flag Gaming off the map. But Flag Gaming, again, you have this EMP for yourself. They're waiting for the right moment. Maybe going to try using that EMP and self-destruct combo. They need to get one of the supports in that EMP. You either need to get Punky Jaeger or you need to get your Turpe, or best case scenario, you get both so that they can't use those support ults.
With that 2 minutes or so to do it, Flag Gaming has the opportunity to push up, but thanks to this EMP from Evil X, going all the way in the backline, scouting to see who's coming out of spawn first before rejoining the fight. Now, D-Mech is Sleepy Bear. Evil X has the EMP ready to go. MG getting the kill and killing So What as they get back into their mech as everyone's clumped up. And Lucky Future just getting absolutely mauled here. There's 2/3 of it. EMP still held by Evil X. Didn't even pop anything at all. No big deal. And that is the map completion there. Both teams doing it. And we're going to go to a quick break right quickly. We're a bit desynced. Don't worry about it. Quick break, and we'll get it real fixed. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry and apologies for that break, but we're hopefully synced up now. And
We have the technology.
we have the technology, but we're trying to get the feed all synced. I think we're good to go now, but if it isn't still synced, please let us know. Anyway, in the meanwhile, we are going to a third attempt now between these two teams. This is Flag Gaming up against Lucky Future. Flag Gaming is up 2-0 in the set, and it's 2-2 for both teams on this map. Now, Lucky Future, they barely completed with some time, so they're going to be going first with just a minute.
Yeah, and it looks like Flag Game is going to be sticking to their guns on this on this defense, rather. Going to be sticking with the Doomfist Sombra, just what we've been seeing. It's standard throughout this map. Going to have that Sombra to try and get that EMP very quickly, and you have that Doomfist to try and deal with these tanks.
And Lucky Future, they don't have a lot of like chase down potential with this team, other than like their tanks, right? So, I mean, if Flag Gaming starts to get a little bit more mobile and gets the revolution, the rotation on Lucky Future, it's gonna be hard for Lucky Future to pursue kills, especially players that are low and a bit, tangible to getting kills here. And Flag Gaming now just waiting for Lucky Future. They're biding their time because knowing Lucky Future is really just, taking so long. They only have time for one fight here, so no one's acting against themselves. They have to fight not only Flag Gaming, but time itself. There's a sleep on the Diva coming out from Mika. Over gets bodied inside. There's nowhere to run. Lucky Future with a great pounce onto that Winston. And now they're going to roll out and try and get rid of that other tank. Tamper swinging away. Jason gets bodied down by Tamper. Great play there to isolate that Doomfist as they were trying to push up on the target. And now Flag Gaming, they get melted here, Kenobi. Lucky Future comes out on top with the fight win. They bided their time. They had patience, and it paid off.
And really good job from Lucky Future as a whole to make sure Punky Jaeger lived, because he was just going one-on-one with Over there, and he would have definitely lost that battle, but the rest of the team was able to collapse on Over's over-aggression a little bit, and now they can snowball this to the second point. Blackbean very, very close to grab, has it now, and the Transcendence available too.
Oh, yep, Transcendence is popped. There's the Graviton. It's not going to catch it by Jason using the meteor strike to get out, but Tamper catches them on their way up. Evil to the EMP, and that's going to catch out that Lucio, but the Lucio's going to go away just in time. Blackbean super low, Punky Jaeger super low, and Punky Jaeger's the one to go down. MG gets back into the cockpit. Now overtime ticking away on the board, on the clock. Flag Gaming has the Transcendence out. The Zarya attention occupied by the Diva. Jason on the Bastion out here. It's boats time. Not even close to that. Coldest looking for that Winston. Over. Jason putting some blood on the floor, and Lucky Future is nowhere to be found here, Kenobi. They get shredded by this Bastion of Jason, who is just literally extending their hero pool with every match they play. And now that's it. There's only one more point added to the board here for a future, for Lucky Future. That means Flag Gaming, all they got to do is get one more point, and they'll take a third map.
Still, though, if you are Lucky Future with a minute left, you definitely take that first point. We sometimes see, like, that was the one fight that you had, and again, it was just a great collapse onto Over for trying to get Punky Jaeger out of that fight early. So great job from Lucky Future getting that first fight won, and then the snowball didn't work exactly as they had planned. The grab not really getting the best value, not really hitting pay dirt the way they wanted to. So Lucky Future definitely take that. Could have been a little bit better, but Flag Gaming here with 2 minutes and 14 seconds, not the largest of time banks either. You have maybe 2 or 3 fights on this first point, and if you're not winning those, Lucky Future might be able to hold this.
Yeah, Lucky Future, again, one of those situations where the scoreline is definitely misleading, right? Like Flag Gaming in control score-wise, but Lucky Future, they brought it to 3 maps on Ilios. Now they're right now holding Flag Gaming off as much as possible right now. And yeah, this could definitely go either team's way. I think really towards the end there, like Lucky Future had no time to really wait around, so they kind of had no choice but to run into that Bastion. But here we go, Flag Gaming on their offensive attempt, running a similar composition.
And this time, both teams are foregoing the Doomfist, especially Flag Gaming Lucky Future rather on the defense. Going to be sticking with Tamper here on this Brigitte, going to try and offer that sustain in those large sustain fights, maybe milk some clock off the time and try and get that CC for Evilex in that backline.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a race to that EMP. Who can get to it first, Evilex or Blackbean? And so far, Blackbean with a slight lead here. Meanwhile, Over going all the way into the second phase of the map, completely rotating on Lucky Future.
Gotta get the health.
Gotta grab the health. Gotta grab that Mega. And meanwhile, Lucky Future just hanging out, falling back because Flag Gaming really not giving them much of a choice here. D-Mac to Sleepy Bear. Evilex has hacked themselves. That's going to slow down their EMP charge, but they still have a slight ahead lead here on Blackbean. Tamper now swinging away just a little bit. So what goes down? Now they need to keep this Diva alive, but the Diva's halfway. Over Jason and Mika all getting on the board here, and Blackbean will be taken out the tail end of that fight. Sleepy Bear left to their own cause and ignored for the most of that fight until they get DMAC and kill at the end. And now Lucky Future going to lose point A here. Flag Gaming still a good amount of time to work with to get point B.
And the disc talked about the tank line for Lucky Future and how it was going to be playing out. And there, unfortunately, Sleepy Bear a little bit out of position and was able to get bopped by Jason, get the stun, and then the rest of the follow-up was really, really good from Flag Gaming. And with 1 minute and 25 seconds left, you have this Transcendence from Coldest that you could use to try and snowball onto this point and get this win.
So what? Trying to jump down, but gets so much damage and then
What a
crowd
stun.
controlled. Yeah, that was just, at that point, feeding ult charge to Flag Gaming here, and they have almost too much to work with. Now here comes the getting the D-mech there. Evil X will get rid of Euterpe. In the meanwhile, Jason is hacked, but swinging away. Doesn't even need their abilities. Literally just hold left click.
Oh, Evil X.
So what goes down? Evil X doing a ton of damage here. Lucky Future has to hold on to just a portion of point A, and they can't do it. Flag Gaming is so close they can smell it. And now they just have to get this first third portion, and they will have a complete series win here and take Hanamura. It'll be 3-0. Flag Gaming keeping the reinforcements from Lucky Future at bay. Here comes the Hammond plus the self-destruct from downtown, but Coldest gets into cover. Evil X can't do that. Now there's a self-destruct on the point, and Usurper getting hit. A taste of their own medicine. Lucky Futures get hit by it, and Flag Gaming will take Hanamura 3-0. They will win the series, and now we'll be moving up to a fourth and final map to see how it goes that way. Will we have a 4-0 or 3-1? But Flag Gaming, with a win on Hanamura, makes it 3-0.
Yeah, we're gonna hope for a 3-1 because we said at the start we don't want more for Overwatch. We want to see some more competitive games. And as you mentioned at the during the breaks, it really has been a little bit closer than the scoreline suggests. Lucky Future has been bringing it, but unfortunately, again, the tank line and the mispositioning from those tanks really showing its ugly head here, and it's being punished really, really well by Flag Gaming. So Flag Gaming, one of those teams that does a really good job of if you're out of position, you're going to be punished for it.
Absolutely. And now it is time for one more break before we get into our fourth map. Thank you all for sticking with us all day here at Broadcast.gg. Almost approaching 6 hours here on this broadcast. Thank you all for sticking with us. But don't go anywhere. One more map after this break here for Contenders China Season 3, 2018, Week 1, Day 2. What is up, Overwatchers? Welcome back. It is time for map number 4. It is time for Flag Gaming versus Lucky Future. It's 3-0 for Flag Gaming. Can Lucky Future screw up their map differential as we move on to Dorado? And by the way, there are a ton of subs coming into this one. Flag Gaming switching in Melons, Lai, and Wan Lee for Over, MG, and Tamper, respectively. Flag literally swapping in almost half of a new roster here to play out Dorado. Kenobi, map 4. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, but it just should be mentioned that Wan Lee is being in something for Tamper on Lucky Future. So Flag Gaming gonna get a whole new tank line with Lion Melon, as well as Lucky Future's gonna get another DPS. Maybe it's just flex their muscles a bit. It is a 3-0, so maybe Flag Gaming is saying, we already won the series. Let's try and maybe try out what Lion Melons can bring to the table. Melons, as we know, was the original main tank for Flag Gaming, but was replaced when Over came over to them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this tank line works and how Lucky Future works with Wan Lee instead of Tamper.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at these compositions, Kenobi, we have Lucky Future coming out first on offense. They're running the Widowmaker Pharah. How do you think that's going to work out for them here on the offensive push for Dorado?
I think Widowmaker Pharah is a really good composition. Wan Lee, when we saw him play last season, played some pretty decent Pharah, and with these changes, already at 35%, seeing some value coming out from him. But I like that Flag Gaming is going to be switching over to this dive composition here with the Widow Genji dive, classic China, Widow versus Widow on Dorado. Name a more combo, name a better combo.
Name more combo, yeah.
More
Sometimes
combo.
there's so many combos out here. Too many words to figure it out. Sleepy Bear and Punky Jaeger get on the board, but they're immediately crucified by Jason. Or Blackbean is still at their eye with Jason getting on the board, doing all this damage, almost clips the wings off that Pharah. The Pharah getting too close to the sun, does back off just in time before they melt. And Flag Gaming in control of the payload here as it stops
Jason.
at Fountain. Jason picking off Wan Lee finally now. And this is Dorado, right? Like, you got to get rid of the Widowmaker or you don't make it past Fountain.
Yeah, and that's got to be on Blackbean, really. He has to put some pressure because the Lucky Future doesn't have a flanking DPS. Sometimes you'll see maybe a Genji or someone go through that left side and go through coast and try to put some pressure on that Widow. But really, right now, you only have Blackbean who can put the pressure on him.
Yeah, and Wan Lee just got barrage, so they have a way to get in. They have some leverage to get in on here, but the second that really gets popped, I mean, you know that they're gonna have Lai waiting there. Evil X getting with the Reflect, has a Dragon Blade of their own, and there it is, going right in off the Nano Boost from Mika, cuts down Punky Jaeger before they even had a chance to get away. And that'll be 3 kills for Flag Gaming. Lucky Future has no response, has to fall back, and they might even get staggered here. The supports from Lucky Future left without any DPS or tags to support them. They have to pocket themselves. Wan Lee gets staggered, and Flag Gaming reducing Lucky Future to about 2 minutes.
And you're seeing how scared Wan Lee really has to play against Jason because Jason's just putting so much pressure and is just so good on the Widowmaker. Has to hide behind the roofs of the houses. Doesn't really have that clear airspace that you want on Pharah on this map. And Lucky Future going into this next fight have a lot of ultimates to their name.
Yeah, right now, and Flag Gaming really, even with just one ultimate, still seems like they can do so much work against Lucky Future. They will pop Melons' Primal Rage, and then they're gonna, rotate in Coldest in the Transcendence, then Lie on the Self-Destructive. Just got that. So what? Crushing Mika underneath those big Gorilla Palms. And then Wan Lee swoosing right in through the window, gets Jason. Now a 6v3 advantage here for Lucky Future. Blackbean and Sleepy Bear getting control of the payload with some kills. And Flag Gaming lose control of the payload. Not only that, but they're going to have their Winston staggered, so recontesting's going to be even harder.
Yeah, Wan Lee there finally says, I've had enough of you, Jason. I'm going to just solo barrage you. And it's going to force Jason over to that Brigitte to actually get a little bit more sustain and a little bit more healing. The Dragon Blade comes out, but they get the point. That is a little bit of a greedy play there coming out from Evil X.
Yeah, and Evil X, I was in literally no way they could have gotten that Pharah. Gets put down for the count, wasting that blade. And Lucky Future's like, all right, we'll take those. Continues to move forward onto phase 2 here, but still only about 3 minutes to work with.
And Evil X has switched over to this Somber. Great shot there from Blackbean, who is really showing himself to be a pretty decent Widow in this matchup. Evil X going to try maybe just hack the backline a little bit, get to Blackbean right now, because they don't really have anything to dive on Blackbean besides the tanks right now. And you can't really do that when Melons is dead.
Yep, and Evil X using that Dragon Blade so they can swap over to the Sombra. Now on that, getting closer and closer to the EMP, but has to be careful, already below half HP. Lucky Future, meanwhile, they have a nano boost, and they'll have at least, 2 tanks alive to throw that on, and one of them has a self-destruct, so they can try and damage boost these tanks, and then before the D.Va has to use a self-destruct, try and get some value out of it. We'll see as they push through the halfway point of Dorado. This is farther than we've gotten so far here today, Kenobi. On this map, Blackbean getting rid of Mika as they try and get to cover. Lucky Future with a 6v3 advantage on this long sightline, and that's all thanks to a great sleep here from the Ana Punky Jaeger, and that slept the Winston, keeping them out of the fight for the duration of that team fight, and Lucky Future takes the win.
And you're seeing such a difference with the tanks now of Flag Gaming being subbed in here. You know, you used to see really Flag Gaming's tanks, they would play a little bit more conservative and a little bit more together, but now it seems like Flag Gaming's tanks are a little bit all over the place. You know, Melons isn't really diving in with Lai, and Lai isn't doing the same either, so they're a little bit separated, and that's not what you want to be when you're diving.
Yeah. Flag Gaming paying respects to Over by overextending and losing bodies here. Lai will get the kill on Wanli, 5v5 situation. So what? Has the primal rage to sustain to create a longer fight if need be for Lucky Future. And considering they just lost their, the Wanli, they need to get back onto the fight, so that primal rage is going to be very beneficial. There's the EMP from Evil X, but Evil X was so low. They were 23 HP when they burned that EMP. There's no follow-up either. Flag Gaming getting bodied here by Lucky Future left and right. Blackbean doing shots. There's literally nobody looking at him. Somebody look at Blackbean doing all these shots, doing all these damage. Transcendence to just prolong the death of this Winston, and Blackbean says no, puts him down. And now there's a second checkpoint here, Kenobi, for Lucky Future.
And poor Coldest, he's just on such an island right now against this dive composition. His tanks are going in a little bit too aggressive, and they're just leaving him alone. And so what? And Sleepy Bear are just feasting on that support line right now for the side of Flag Gaming. So maybe I'd like to see the tanks from Lucky Future, or from Flag Gaming rather, just stick a little bit near Coldest and Mika.
Blackbean going super, super low. Melons coalescing onto that Blackbean. Widowmaker gets the kill. Sleepy gets stunned a little bit, making it hard to push that front line forward, but so what's going to pick up the slack. Then the self-destruct coming out. Flag Gaming needs to get the cover. Lai does not, gets demeched, and Wanli with the right click to immediately get rid of that baby diva there. Now Lucky Future still in a great biotic grade by Punky, really making it hard for Making to get away. 2 minutes left on the clock, and Flag Gaming, a shade of their former selves right here as Lucky Future in full control.
And again, you see how over-aggressive this team is being. You saw Melons dive into the backline, but while he's diving into the backline, so what is in his own backline getting the kills, and he's not getting any follow-up. Coldest is going to kill so what here, but it's just going to be a brawl, and it looks like they might be able to take this. Blackbean going down as well. It's a 6-for-4.
Yeah, there's really nowhere at that point in the map for Lucky Future to be that's not like narrow and very like clumped up, so it's perfect for the EMP to get that off, and Flag Gaming now will stop Lucky Future for the first time in quite a while.
And it looks like Lucky Future is going to be switching over to a more beefy composition, triple support, triple tank for this last point C. A lot of confined spaces and a lot of confined healing that you're going to need from that Brigitte. A lot of AoE heals from that Lucio as well. So you're going to have a lot of damage and a lot of healing coming in from this composition.
There's so much on the screen here as Lucky Future trying to break out onto the payload, but they have a Primal Raging Winston in their face. So what? Also have is in the pocket. Gonna wait as long as possible to burn that. Evil X, super, super low. Melons finds Punky Jaeger. So what? Now trying to cut off the rest of Flag Gaming as Lucky Future retreating, and it looks like Melons will just try and get away themselves. They do. Lucky Future will get away with their lives intact, but they give away control of the payload as a result.
Not only that, but they also give away that Transcendence for Lucky Future, an ability they probably wanted to keep for this next fight because you don't have any supporters on your side. Flag Gaming does, however, so this sound barrier for Mika is going to be huge in trying to sustain this last fight here.
Oh, there's a sound barrier. So what? Immediately popping that, gonna try and eat through that sound barrier as long as possible, or as much as possible here. And Flag Gaming losing Melons to Punky Jaeger. Jason though will DMX Sleepy Bear. Here comes a self-destruct right down mid. Bubble from So What to keep himself alive. Now 10 seconds left on the clock. Lucky Future has yet to complete the map, but they have control of the payload and the player advantage numbers wise. Flag Gaming only has the EMP, but they don't have the players to follow it up, so they have to be careful how they use that. But really, there's very little time to be careful. They gotta just pop it, and once you pop, you can't stop. That EMP though gets nothing. Evil X gets no kills, and Melons can't follow up. 5v4 situation for Lucky Future, but Jason again with that last-ditch effort, Bastion, and it's getting covered up so far, but only gets one kill. Gets melted by Sleepy Bear, otherwise as that Matrix will get in his way. Overtime ticking away now. Lucky Future, Blackbean switching over to the Tracer, and they have full advantage of the payload, pushing the defense back into spawn. Less than 3 meters remain. There's one more kill here, and Lucky Future will be able to push to the end of the map, but they still got to do that, and there it is. They will complete. Flag Gaming unable to get there in time, and that is a full map completion for Lucky Future.
And we finally see the rest of Dorado Rapture. Today we haven't seen it. It's been all full holds on A, and we finally see the rest of that map. And towards the end of that fight there, it was really Punky Jaeger who came onto the pedestal and shined a bit in that last fight, playing a little bit more of a fragging Zenyatta, getting in the kill feed a lot. And there wasn't really a chance for Flag Gaming to dive onto him, really. He was being completely pocketed by the rest of his team. So really nice play from Punky Jaeger there to push them over to that third point, and they finally are going to be able to get Dorado. With in overtime, that's the good thing that you can hang your hat on for Flag Gaming.
Mm-hmm. And Flag Gaming, pretty evidently, right? Like they're trying to get 3 of their sub players some more play time, right? Like they have the advantage of we've won the set already. Why not give them some more time? But Lucky Future, like, all right, we're sticking with what works, and we're going to continue to push and playing pretty solidly, staying consistent. Unfortunately for them, at this point, Flag Gaming kind of giving them the map in that kind of regard. Lucky Future, even though they get this win, wouldn't be against the full roster they faced earlier in the set. That being said, I mean, Lucky Future trying to stay as consistent as possible. This has been, despite the scoreline, the closest set we've seen so far today, Kenobi. So, I mean, this could be still, despite potential loss here, a good start for Lucky Future in the long run.
And Lucky Future on this defensive end is going to be bringing out their Genji Sombra dive. Sombra, we saw Blackbean play it earlier, played it pretty well, was farming up EMP really well. Sometimes didn't get the best value out of his EMPs, but let's see if that can change in this next map. And for Flag Gaming, looks like they're going to be sticking to what China really likes to play. They're going to be playing some Genji Widow dive.
Genji, Widow, dive. Coldest quickly switching over to the Zenyatta as they see what Lucky Future's rolling out on. They want to, those Genji and the Sombra, they want to have a Discord orb on those characters as often as possible, so they put that Zenyatta right back out, making sure it's even easier to tenderize those squishy DPS characters. And now Juan Lee putting some high ground position, high ground pressure on Flag Gaming, who are just going to walk right up, no big deal. Juan Lee getting the other Genji to fall back. Coldest gets cut down by Blackbean, and Flag Gaming, a little taste of their own medicine here, push back to their own spawn. Jason almost cutting down Juan Lee, forcing Juan Lee to use the reflect to get out of dodge. And 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, Flag Gaming, that Winston, they get slept and then cut down for the count. Flag Gaming reduced to, losing about a minute on the clock. Lucky Future in control.
Yeah, Melons again going a little bit too aggressive. Knew that the Genji was being healed, but still decided to go in, ate a sleep, and ate some shurikens to the face for it. And it looks like it's just not going to be enough for them to continue, as it looks like the nano boost is going to come out here.
And there it is, right onto the Winston. That's so
he got slapped.
Oh my lord, taking a quick nap through the dive. And that dash gets met with some sleepy time there, some Z's for that Genji. Both Genjis going down, actually. Melons, super low, 12 HP to 0 HP there. 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. The payload's going to move forward here for Flag Gaming. Remember, even if they complete the map, they still have to push again. Lucky Future completed it as well. So Flag Gaming still has a lot of work out ahead of them, and they've burned a minute and a half still to get through to Fountain here. But Lucky Future has a lot of ultimates to work with.
And the EMP being probably one of the best that they have in their bank. I mean, EMP, as we know, can end fights before they even start, but the Dragon Blade is going to try and do it for themselves. He's going to go after the Winston here, is going to get Melons off of that Winston, but Jason is going to follow up with the kick onto Jaeger.
I would say ultimately that was a pretty, I would say a small win there for Flag Gaming, as only the Winston went down to that Genji. So what? Picking up the slack there with the Primal Rage. Gets 2. Blackbeam demecking Lie. And Lucky Future having to burn very few, if any, resources here to hold Flag Gaming off. Now below 2 minutes here. And they're going to get... Oh, no, wait. Oh! That Flag Gaming, they got the back half. They got the back half. Lucky Future lets it go, and that first checkpoint's met.
I looked at the timer and it said 4 minutes, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. And then they get the point. I just right from under the noses of Flag Gaming. You hate to see that if you're Lucky Future. You're doing such a good job on that defense, but just slipped up a little bit. And now Flag Gaming is going to be running into this next point with 4 ultimates to their name. Evil X 50% to an EMP.
That's like so unfortunate too. Lucky Future like winning, and because they themselves didn't, stay on the payload, they gave themselves a loss, and now they've given, new life to Flag Gaming here.
That's a huge we take those, Rapture. I think that's what we call that. As the EMP comes out.
And so we music, we sports, we take those out here. Blackbean throws down the EMP. Flag Gaming, though, with so much DPS, not only going to get this win, but Evil X has an EMP of their own in the outset of this fight. So I mean, it's even harder for Lucky Future to get back into this.
And that's another instance of Blackbean's EMP. I said before that he hasn't been hitting the high value targets that you need to with that EMP, and there doesn't get Coldest on that Zenyatta, and Coldest is able to trance to save his life and save that point.
Absolutely. Evil X about to have EMP there, scouting a little bit. Oh, they have to be. Lucio has to be careful here.
Cold.
No. Oh my God, they're losing their supports before the fight even gets going. Sleepy Bear though, right in, doing a ton of damage with the help of Wan Lee, but Wan Lee gets cut down by Mika before able to stay alive for another kill. Coldest gets body blocked and shoulder checked there, but Blackbean steals the kill. Lucky Future is able to recontest and get control the point, but Flag Gaming gonna lick their wounds just for a moment as they have some ultimates to work with going to the next fight.
And also, there was some odd positioning coming out from Flag Gaming there. Half the team went to flank around, but the other half stayed towards the middle of the point. And Lucky Future just decided, okay, we're going to dive one part of you. We're going to get those kills, and then the rest of you, you're going to be stuck in that little room with that Mega Pack, and you're going to go down as well. And Evil X has this EMP. Blackbean doesn't have his just yet.
Nope, and waiting for the tanks to use some cooldowns here, make it harder for them to get away from the EMP, but so what? Finds Mika jumping in onto the high ground and forces Flag Gaming to jump down on the payload where Lucky Future's ready and waiting for them, and they get melted in literally a blink of an eye there. Flag Gaming now below 2 minutes, and they have not gotten the second checkpoint.
Melted without using any ultimates as well. Evil X still holding on to this EMP, and Blackbean now has his, and Lucky Future has 5 ultimates going to this next fight, whereas Flag Gaming only have the 3, and they're going to get 5 probably by the time it starts.
And Lucky Future, I mean, they're about to have 5 ultimates going into this, and really Punky Jaeger just has to hit a big biotic grenade. That's an ultimate in and of itself right there. Evil X, gets a hack onto the Winston, so there's no cooldowns. EMP comes down now from Blackbean, and Lucky Future lands huge shots, but no kills. Flag Gaming, Evil X also used their EMP. Self-destruct gets caught up on the bridge. Not in position to actually get kills, but Melons doesn't take cover and gets hit, gets caught in the crossfire. Now Flag Gaming trying to push Lucky Future off the point as Melons goes down. Flag Gaming still able to do so without that Winston, and that Winston will come back with a Primal Rage. So they will be able to sustain as Lucky Future gets the defensive reinforcements to touch the payload just in time. Less than 3 meters to go, and a minute remaining on the clock. Gets slept and hacked. Lie now has to fall back. They have no cooldowns to burn. Melons rejoining the fray though, putting some pressure on the back line of Lucky Future, but leaving the rest of their team to their own accord. Now there's a self-destruct from downtown, and that doesn't hit pay dirt. Jason and the Bree swinging away here. Evil X EMP from above, and the tanks get caught. Lucky Future has nowhere to run, and no cooldowns to burn to get out of dodge. All the tanks get caught. Lucky Future is thrown down to the ground here. A nice, nice little sticker on the payload as Flag Gaming gets control just in time too, as they're below 30 seconds and now just under 2 minutes to complete the map.
Again, Lucky Future at the end of the point just not able to finish out this map. Unfortunately, they were so close, but the EMP from Evil X doing huge at the end there. The picks were able to come through, gets 4 or 5 people, and now Flag Gaming is going to switch over to a more 3-3 composition here. They're going to be switching Jason onto that Brigitte and putting Evil X onto this Zarya. Going to be a little bit more beefy composition and some more sustain.
Yeah, really Flag Gaming wants as much crowd control as possible, especially in the tail end of this fight. Now 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. Wan Lee gets the jump on Jason with the right click. So what? Rotating on Flag Gaming, trying to find these squishies as they run away. It has to fall back. Now Sleepy Bear joining them up. And now the Winston has room to jump in. Melons gets cut down though. And Flag Gaming trying to get away, but Lucky Future does not let them get out. Pursuit does double damage as the other team retreats. And Flag Gaming now at 1 minute as Lucky Future not only reducing that minute, but have ultimates to spare.
Yeah, the ultimates that they have, especially Blackbean on this Sombra, there is no Sombra from Flag Gaming now to counter Blackbean, and really what's the best counter for Sombra is the Sombra itself, and Blackbean here can just hit this EMP and use only this one ult, and they're going to be able to milk so much time off of this clock, especially if Coldest is the one hit by the EMP.
And jumping right down, EMP is ready to go. The Diva's right there, and then some. Gets 2 more outside of it. Lai is able to get bolstered by a great sound barrier by Mika, who is out of the range of the EMP from Blackbean. So what? Finds Coldest. Coldest has really been shut down this entire map, as opposed to the other 3 where they're fragging out as a Zenyatta. And now Lucky Future trying to dislodge Flag Gaming yet again, and it's working out. 10 seconds left. Attention all Epic Broadcast.gg gamers. Flag Gaming needs your help, and they don't have any ultimates. You gotta give them the necessary information. Lucky Future throwing them off. They have control of the payload. Evil X with a graviton, and it catches 2. Lucky Future, and there's a Primal Rage in their face, but they're still staying alive with a great Transcendence coming out from the Zenyatta Punky Jaeger. Lucky Future in control. Overtime ticking away here. Flag Gaming loses their Zarya, and Punky Jaeger goes down the line. Overtime still ticking away as Jason again being outclassed by Wan Lee. Overtime still as Flag Gaming trying to move away these supports from the point, and it's working out. Wanli goes down. Sleepy
Blackbean.
Coldest as well, and Mika too. Overtime still ticking. Blackbean on the bridge now, looking for another EMP. Something, anything they need. Lucky Future trying to get this map away from Flag Gaming, trying to destroy the map differential of Flag Gaming before the season really gets started here on week 1, and they do it. Lucky Future will take the 4th and final map. They stop Flag Gaming from 4-0ing the third 4-0 in a row. We will get a 3-1. Good stuff to Lucky
We
Future.
did it.
But Flag Gaming will take the series 3-1.
And 3-1, and I think a nice little experiment for Flag Gaming. They're putting in Melons and Lai, giving them a little playtime, but I expect in future games when they need to play, bring out the big boys, I think they're going to be sticking with with MG and Over more so. The tank line looked a lot better with them, and Lai and Melons didn't look the same and really let Showwhat and Sleepy Bear walk all over them a little bit. So I think they're going to be keeping with Flag's main tanks here that they started the game with. And I think the desk also probably has something to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was certainly a great 3 matches here today. Thank you all for tuning in with us, but we have the desk to break it down one last time. So how about you guys take it away? Let us know what you think.
One last time. Here we are. Once again, it's me, Blank, Vowels, and Albion. We're still alive. We're still going through this. This is the 3rd game of the day. We're still going strong. We've had our Red Bulls. We're alive and kicking, okay? All right? We're going to go back to Hanamura, but first, we got to talk about Blackbean. Man, the guy popped off.
He did. Somebody had to finally show up for Lucky Future, and Blackbean was the one to do it.
He was required in that moment.
He was, yeah.
They needed someone to step up to the plate, and Blackbean happily did it. And I think it was the map choice as well. Dorado is just so great for him.
Yeah, because going into this series, I mentioned it that I was a little bit concerned about the Zarya play I'd seen from him in Land Story recently. But when he gets to play the Sombra, he was getting really critical hacks off on tanks, and allowing people to kind of creating space for his team. And then on the Widow, he was hitting shots. So when he gets off at Zarya, I'm a lot more kind of satisfied with what I see from him. And overall, I think that's something to take away for Lucky Future, is that they definitely look better on a lot more of the dive compositions or the Brig Sombra compositions that they were playing today, as opposed to the tanks that they've been playing in Land Story.
Anyway, let's take it back to Hanamura. So I think what we've seen so far from a lot of the games we saw today, I mean, holding Hanamura first is practically impossible when you spawn actually in Japan. So it's so tough to get back, right? So holding Hanamura first for them on for about, I think it was 2 minutes 30 is a great big success for them, right?
Yeah, so actually, Hanamura first right now is a really difficult point to defend because you can successfully play so many different compositions on the attack. You can play dive compositions, you can play the monkey goats variation, you can play traditional goats. So the defending team is in a really tough spot when they pick their composition. Actually, both teams, I think, actually held for a surprisingly long time on first point, considering they were on Sombra Doomfist, and which can be exploited by switching to the monkey diva brig Zarya kind of composition, where the Doomfist doesn't really have any targets to go on. Everybody can survive with bubbles, and it just becomes a lot harder for him to get value out of his abilities. And so I was surprised, because Hanamura is a point that a lot of time we're seeing teams cap in like 90 seconds, and they were holding for 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll park the Doomfist and not having the support you might have needed for a little bit. We're going to go over to you, Vals. We're talking about the Gravs that Lucky Future just held on for so very long. Like it was actually getting stale in the back pocket, and when it did finally come out, just wasn't as effective.
It's like my grandma on a Ferris wheel, just holding on for dear life. Don't want to let go. I'm sorry, Albion, I had to. Grav isn't especially in the current meta where you have a lot of these floats compositions, as you were. It's like normal goats, but you throw to Winston instead of Reinhardt. Grav isn't the team wipe fight defining ultimate that it used to be. You don't really have the Reinhardt cleave damage. Winston isn't quite as effective into a Grav. Maybe you have the bomb, but it's really hard to execute this combos properly. You need to kind of accept that Grav, getting 1 or 2 people into Grav, that's okay. Secure those kills. Even just use it as a CC to separate the opposing team, so you can then maybe get onto supports a bit better. They were holding onto the Gravs a little bit too long, trying to go for those huge team wipes, those huge Reddit clip moments. and that's not effective in the current meta. That's not an effective use of grav in these floats compositions, or even in some of the other compositions where they were running. They don't have a way to effectively get a team wipe off the back of the graviton, and you need to be able to accept that and use your grav a little bit more freely. Just be happy with just getting one or two. Use it almost as a crowd control ability, and it's not there to define the fight. It's just there to make the fights a little bit easier.
Yeah, and let's go actually come back to talking about before as well. So the Doomfist, and it's Jason on point B, Hanamura, Flag Gaming, and the momentum shifts in a big old way after he tries to go for the media strike on the high ground, then opts not to, and after that point, he just feels a coward, and that's it. It's all over for Jason. From the momentum shifts in the favor of Lucky Future. Of course, they do lose Hanamura, but they come back strong on Dorado there. But we did notice a couple of things that weren't enabling Jason as much as they potentially could have been, Albion.
Yeah, and like we saw a lot earlier in the day, having the Zarya as off tank alongside the Doomfist can actually be really effective. We talked about it earlier, but bubbling your Doomfist prevents him from being crowd controlled and allows him to survive and get out once he has made his used his cooldowns to go in and try and look for those one shots, especially against Brig composition. So Jason was kind of running into a wall a little bit where he wasn't able to properly drop and look for one shots because he didn't have that sort of support, and the Brig was just sitting there waiting for him. And if he ever came in, he was going to get countercharged with a stun, knocked down, and he would very likely die. And even beyond that, it's hard to find a target with Doomfist against the composition that Lucky Future was running there with the Zarya Brig as your DPS heroes, because whoever you get onto can just get bubbled, and suddenly you can't follow with the left clicks to get the kill. So it worked a couple times when he was able to get the nano boost, and the rocket punch was enough to actually kill the target. But without that Zarya bubble on him, it's harder to get that follow up and really chain multiple kills.
Yeah, and what else is really difficult is point C, Dorado. What we had on there was we had great Widowmaker, great Sombra coming up from Blackbean to make the push as effective as it was for Lucky Future. Then he got to point C. We see them all switch over to the tanks. Now, this is kind of strange for us because we see that Blackbean is doing so well in the Widow Vals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just you don't have the map geometry there to really complement the Widowmaker. We think of first point, you can sit on the arch at the back, perch it behind well on the low ground even. It's so wide open, there's so many sightlines for the Widowmaker control. As we move into second point, it's maybe not quite as effective, but you can still perch up on the high ground in the back. You get a great view as they move through the streets, come around the corners. There's not really that much geometry there for a Widow on third point. Controlling some of those tight corners, you always need the tank heavy compositions with the extra crowd control, the extra map control. You can't control the sightlines in the same way as you can with the Widowmaker. So it does make sense that Blackbean decided to opt to switch off the Widowmaker, go for the Zarya or the Sombra, which he has been equally effective at throughout the series. We did have some questions about Zarya going in. I think like he's had a slightly better performance than we expected. If he's still definitely got some stuff to work on, but he's getting there. But bringing out the McCree briefly, the Sombra as well, Blackbean's got a lot of tools to enable some great pushes in Lucky Future. And the more they can play about enabling him, particularly in areas like Dorado where he can pop from Widowmaker and then Sombra towards the end, I feel like that's going to be a key to success here for Lucky Future.
Now, talking about Blackbean's Widowmaker, let's talk about the supportive sniper that Punky Jaeger was playing on the Ana here, Albion.
Yeah, and Punky Jaeger, towards the end of the series, once he on Dorado he got into the Ana, he was hitting a lot of really good sleep darts, right? He was sleeping Genji Blades out, and it was a good adaptation, I think, from them to swap away from some of that Zen to get onto the Ana, because when Flag Gaming is playing so much Sombra, and the Zen is a lot more vulnerable to the Sombra because she can pop up and pressure him solo because he can't, drop a biotic grenade at his feet and heal himself. As well as, of course, when he gets EMP'd, he loses his 150 health and shields, and his a 50 health character and a couple bullets and a melee from the Sombra kills him. So you switch over to the Ana, you're a little bit less vulnerable to being picked off or pressured heavily by the Sombra. And on the flip side, because Flag Gaming was playing so much of the Sombra Brig, there's a little bit less damage to worry about for your tanks. So when you have the Ana to then pocket your tanks to the front line, you can fight very effectively despite the fact that you don't have a Discord orb to actually fight the enemy tanks because you're not taking that much yourself.
No, not at all. All right, that has been it from us on the desk. I hope you've enjoyed Chinese Contenders today. That is the last of it for this weekend at least. You can catch us next weekend on the 24th and the 25th at 4 a.m. EST and 5 a.m. EST and 9 a.m. GMT there. We'll be back on the desk. We'll have some of the lovely faces of the cast as you saw, as well as breaking down the games. But until then, we shall catch you soon. Goodbye. I've been Blank, and this is Vals and Albion.